nothing seems to be going, and people don't understand, hey, we need that 60 majority in the Senate to prevent the filibuster from happening. And that's how critical this next election here in 2026 is, especially with an open US Senate seat, especially in Michigan, obviously, because this is the first time in the history of our state. I think there's an open US Senate seat and governor's seat available, along with everything else that's going along with the Attorney General, Secretary of State. So I have to get the elephant out of the room and ask you straight up. You teased that you were contemplating a possible run for US Senate, and you even raised some cheddar, almost $1 million.
Yeah. We had a good first quarter, and let me be clear. Very few people were expecting Gary Peters to announce that he was not going to be running again. The intelligentsia, both in the state and out in Washington, were pretty sure that he was going to be running again. And he surprised a lot of people about that. Interestingly enough, my wife called it the other way. We were talking about it, and she was like, we looked up, how old is he? And she started doing the math, and she's like, he's not going to run. I'm like, okay, all right, I appreciate your insight, honey, but come on. And turns out she was right. She was also right about Donald Trump, by the way, in 2016 when she called that one. So always listen to your wife. Always make sure that that intuition that they have is oftentimes dead on. But at the end of the day, I looked at it, and my phone started ringing. Hasn't stopped ringing, frankly. And because of the work that I've been able to do out in Washington, it's exposed me to a lot of people in a lot of different sort of avenues of our economy and around the country. Obviously, in Michigan, we are so diverse between agriculture and manufacturing, and whether it's autos or whether it's office furniture. I mean, we build stuff here in Michigan, right? So anyway, the jumping ahead a little bit, as I started looking at this and taking kind of a temperature, I was given some assurances by Senate leadership that nothing was going to be happening real quick. Sort of surprised me when they went back on that, and suddenly threw their support behind our last candidate. And look, you played football. You were a great middle linebacker. I think it was middle linebacker, right? If
Yep.
I'm recalling that rightly.
Go Broncos.
Uh, yeah, go Broncos. By the way, congratulations, Broncos, on Bronco Nation on that hockey win, national
Absolutely.
championship. That was great. But I'm just betting the bit that I know Garrett Soldano. You relished the times when you could stone someone as they were trying to run a play right up the middle,
That's
right? And then when they came back at you with that same play, you probably had a little gleam in your eye. You're ready to go right back in it, fill that gap, and stone them again. And what I'm hearing from people is, why are we going to go run the same play again? Right? Don't we have to get a different direction? And look, Michigan politics has changed. It absolutely has changed. And I think the question that a lot of people have is, how do you keep together this coalition that President Trump was able to masterfully do, and carry that forward? Because we know that there's a group of people that haven't gone out and voted all the time, but they definitely came out and voted for the president. And how do we get that message out to them to make sure that it's not just Donald Trump's agenda, it's our agenda, right? It's the American agenda, it's the America First agenda.